Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings, everybody. Anti-monarchists, monarchists, fans of Charles, Camilla, Diana, absolutely everybody. Guardian readers, Daily Mail readers, and your cats, dogs, pets, whatever they may be. Absolutely everybody. Because a constitutional monarchy is a public thing. It's there. The idealism is it's there for the benefit of the public, the citizens of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth, which is like a members club. I've been struggling to get through a lot of the comments. Thank you very, very much. And emails. I am falling behind. I'm trying to catch up as much as I can. And thank you all very, very much for your comments. They are fascinating. You all have very, very different points of view. Some of you agree on a lot and other people have very different points of view. Thank you, JJ and Kenyon, for coming forward and commenting. And there's another one called Ralph Owens, who, again, I don't agree with. But I really appreciate your participation, coming forward and making comments. The title of this one is Lily and Archie Not Invited to the Coronation. Oh, come on. I'm watching like mainstream media, news people talking about this. They're tiny. They are tiny little kids. Why are mainstream media news journalists saying Lily and Archie need a role in the coronation? Come on. They won't know what a coronation is. They would be bored out of their minds. Can you imagine the stress for their parents, Meghan and Harry, trying to keep them entertained? I don't know how long the coronation is going to go on for, but I'm guessing at least an hour. At least. Now, anyone who's never had kids or been babysitting, that might not sound like a long time, but trust me, having two of my own children and having done babysitting, an hour, even 10 minutes is a long time. Sometimes on the dolphin boat we hold people's kids so they can get pictures of the dolphins and we're like, oh, hurry up, please. I think it's going to cry in a minute and I don't know what to do. So I can't understand, on the one hand, why mainstream media journalists will scrutinise some things and yet come out with stuff like that. I can't even remember which mainstream media it was I was watching, but they were going on and on and on about how Archie and Lily need a role in the coronation. Let's forget it's the royal family for a minute. Anyone ever planned a wedding with flower girls? I mean, yeah, when it's the whole world's not watching, then that's not as much stress, is it? But even so, a bride's big day. How old is Lily now? 18 months or something? I don't know. See, I'm really not into the kids. I've never been into, oh, a royal's pregnant, oh, a royal's having a baby. I know that is a big thing of it. It's a lineage, it's a birthright. But I personally have never really been into other human beings' bodily functions. And ever since Meghan came along, there seems to be nothing but discussion about bodily functions, which I personally don't want to talk about mine in public, but you know, she loves all that. She did some menstrual management something. I was reading it in Sparry's book here. I think I was reading it in that, about she was off to Africa to do menstrual management. I mean, to talk to other, no, I'm sorry, I just wouldn't. It's like comparing the bowel movements in the morning. Anyway, so yes, I think that Archie and Lily are far too tiny, and they're probably far too tiny to be on the balcony. They're probably, because they've not been in the public eye. Can you imagine how scary for those little kids? Suddenly seeing crowds and crowds of people cheering, maybe booing, screaming. That is going to be quite alarming, as opposed to children that have been brought up with a very big awareness, I would imagine, of what they've been born into. Now, the Windsors as a whole, because some of you have said, why write to King Charles if about the suspected stomping of free speech? Well, actually, Harry has actually outright said that the First Amendment in America is bonkers. He's kind of made no secret that he wants to control free speech. He has made no secret, and his reasons behind that are because he doesn't like criticism. Or his wife doesn't like criticism, because he seemed to be kind of okay with it up until she came along. I was very impressed with an interview of him years ago when they were asking him about the Vegas thing, you know, where he was playing strip billiards or something. And they asked him about it and he just shrugged it off. He just went, I didn't know anybody had a camera in the room. Never mind, it's one of those things. And I thought that was the coolest reaction. That was brilliant. And I was right on his side. I thought, well done, Windsor, well done. But now, oh my God, you can't say a word. You can't say a word. And I see little guys, YouTubers, being stomped all over. Now, as long as Harry is a member of the family, and he always will be to the day he dies, he is a member of the public British royal family. Is the head of the family and the head of state is King Charles. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there love him, and why not? And I fully encourage you to come and fight his corner in the comments. However, if you really think that he's that delicate, that he's going to get upset, then I would suggest again that the job is not for him. Now, I personally disagree. I think he's been preparing for this role for long enough. He's had loads of criticism, way worse than this in the past, and I'm not going to mention it, but I think we all know what I'm talking about. And he rode out that storm, so did Camilla. I think you do them a disservice by thinking that they're not tough enough to deal with this. They are tough enough to take criticism. That's one of the effects that Meghan and Harry seem to have had on the entire outlook, the public relations of the way we see the Windsors, is that suddenly they're all a bunch of lily livers who burst into tears and throw themselves to the ground sobbing all the time. I don't think so. I don't think so. There's only one member of that family that I hear about sobbing and throwing herself to the ground, and that's Meghan. Now with the Windsors, because you see a lot of you guys are American and you have followed the royal family long before me. I've seen in the comments, and fantastic comments there are too. There was one that actually sort of summarised the entire royal family going right back from William the Conqueror, and it was quite short. I was very impressed with that. We look at them, you know, as we grow up, whatever country you're from, and we're kind of like, oh, don't like it. Maybe, yeah. And that's how we are with them. It's an ever-evolving, ever-changing relationship. That is part of a constitutional monarchy. They're not only there with the head of state, they're human beings, but they're human beings that live under exceptionally unusual circumstances. I hasten to add circumstances that I do not envy. One of my biggest things that I admired her late Majesty for is she didn't say anything, and that is very difficult. All those years, she didn't say anything, and I bet you she was bursting to say something at certain points, but didn't feel that she could. So we all have our favourites of the royal family, but what I can't accept is if they are going to contact YouTube, contact mainstream media, and suppress things. Now, some of you have pointed out that Harry, I haven't actually read that part of his book yet, where he admits to drug taking, and I take your word for it. I haven't read the first half of the book, only the second half of the book. And yet he was in Sandhurst and stuff, and some of you have pointed out that drug testing and stuff like that, you'd be thrown out. Well, to a certain extent, we just have to accept it. There's one rule for the Windsors, and there's another rule for the rest of us. Now, the majority of that family, I believe, understand that, appreciate that, and try and play it down. Unfortunately, Meghan, being the newest member of the family, I don't think she understands that at all. She thinks she can just do what she likes and silence it in the press. Well, we wait and see what comes out. And also, a lot of you asked, if you're not from Britain or the Commonwealth, can you write to Buckingham Palace? Of course you can. And I will pin the address to Buckingham Palace in a top comment for any of you who want to write to them about any subject, about any reason. Yes, of course you can write to them. And I am going to write to them and say, what is going on? Because it's not just YouTubers. It's much bigger. This is what I would say to Kenyon and JJ. Be careful what you wish for. Because as you all know, I'm a lefty. But I seem to have spent a large proportion of the last 12 months arguing for people's free speech who have completely opposing opinions to me, because there must be free speech. When you silence the opposition, you automatically silence yourself. Of course, free speech does not include bullying, defamation or harassment, which I've said many times. Anyone who goes through my videos, look up my defamation videos and you will see that those are not included, except on YouTube. Apparently there is a YouTuber out there who does perpetually defame, bully and harass loads of us YouTubers, but according to YouTube that's fair use and fair dealing, that's fine. And also threats on Twitter, apparently that's fine. So there's some weirdness going on with social media as a whole, and unfortunately YouTube seems to have fallen into that category, whereas before YouTube I always considered as a cut above the rest of them. Anyway, I am off to polish my bathroom floor, the little one. I thank God it's one of the smallest bathrooms in the world. Thank you, God. With an electric drill, because I've been doing it by hand until my fingers are cut to the bone. And Graham has just gone and very kindly bought me one of these. So, I dare say a lot of you will agree that Lily and Archie are far too little to have a role in the coronation. I mean, what are these people thinking, even suggesting it? And I expect that the Duke of Norfolk, who's in charge of the whole thing, has probably said, please, no children under a certain age, for very obvious and practical reasons. As always, I look forward to reading as many of your comments as I possibly can in the comments section. Have a fabulous day, and thank you very much for listening.